Welkom beste mensen bij wederom een uitzending van Eemland on the Move. En uiteraard de terugkerende gast Mitch McGahan. Hi Mitch.
Hi Dan, how are you?
I'm good. I can better ask. Well, I know how you've been. Well, partially, I've not been there, but you had a bit of an adventure that was concluded in a most magnificent way.
It was indeed. Yep. Obviously, the finals of the Super Cup were just this weekend gone, and we managed to finish third. Which was a massive accomplishment, a massive achievement, the highest or the most successful Delta side ever, under the new regime, should we say, with the 5 clubs taking charge. So I think a fantastic achievement for the young players involved and a wonderful stepping stone for what we hope will be the launchpad for a lot of their future careers with the national team.
Yeah. No, cool indeed, absolutely, indeed, the best result ever, I think, with Delta. I think again, I was purely a spectator, so I saw it from abroad. Well, for instance, the game again, we won at the end brilliantly, but it was a different team. What we just played now than we played first, the Belgians, right? Was there a difference, or was it more or less the same?
No, a few changes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of their younger backline that we saw in December, who had been still available after their adventures with the under-20s program, back in France playing.
Yeah.
A couple had been with the Sevens program as well. So, and I believe they were in South Africa or something, or Dubai over the last few weeks.
Okay.
So there were a couple of them not available, but still an experienced and relatively strong side.
Older than we are.
Yes, much older, much more. They've been around the block.
Yeah. So all in all, with Delta again, I'm getting the impression that we are, as we do, as Dutch tend to do, holier than the Pope in certain occasions, but that we were the only team that really stuck to that under-24 regime. The others are more or less were older.
I think, like I said, I think I've said before, when the Super Cup first came in, Rugby Europe's vision for it would be a stepping stone from under-20 and bridge the gap to senior men's. That went out the window when the Georgians and Romanians basically put the national side in the first few installments. Then you had, I believe, a side out of Tel Aviv that were recruiting a whole bunch of former professionals to play, paying them relatively good money as well to do so. So everyone's boundaries on or how they envision that thing, or how Rugby Europe envisioned the Super Cup or the original format of the Super Cup, were quickly dissipated. We ourselves over the last few years have tended to move away from that and pick more experienced players or guys that were locally based to prepare them for the rec or for November internationals with Lynn. And with the clubs taking control, they wanted to bring it back to its roots and be an under-24 side, or predominantly under-24 side, I should say, that weren't yet established internationals and were the best talents to give them the leg up. To bridge that gap and potentially push for higher honours. Not everyone's done that, of course. Spain, very fully professional side, and the Portuguese, very, very similar. A lot of international experience within their side. So,
But Spain really wiped them off the board.
I think we gave them a little bit of a shock the week before. That kind of maybe gave them a rethink, because I think they pulled in 4 or 5 guys who will start for them in the rec. In a couple of weeks' time, were brought back into the starting lineup. And I'm sure, very similar to ourselves and the Belgians, I don't think there's any love lost between the Spanish and Portuguese. So any chance that they can get one up on each other, I think they take. And the Spanish definitely took it on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, so I think Spain overall is really on the rise in the way they're organizing themselves. Portugal was always better than Spain, but Spain is really catching up, and in certain occasions are really doing better, at least in the youth, I know. I don't know if the national, Delta, so they're the Super Cup, they are better. I don't know if it's the national side. Do they win from Portugal? They're still better, I think.
I think in the past they have. I think it's been, if we look at the rec, and every year Georgia are the standout side. And then it's just who's playing them in that final game or competing with them for the title. It's flip-flop back and forth between Portugal and Spain over the last couple of years. I think they've kind of shared those honours, particularly at Super Cup level. The Portuguese have been the better side. Again, Georgia have been in it, so have predominantly won it. But Portugal have tended to play them in finals or finish second. This was the first time the Spanish really have taken it seriously, and with the model that they've decided to operate in, brought their players back and used it as a way to prepare for the full internationals that they had in November and again coming up in February. So, yeah, they were the favourites when they decided to take that model in. And look, they went 7 games. They won every single game in the Super Cup. They were by far and away the best team. I know. Yeah, we probably gave them the closest scare that they had in
Spain.
In Spain as well.
How was that, by the way? It was 2 hours from Madrid, right? It was in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, there were lots of rumours flying around that this was a made-up place. It was actually Valencia we were going to, not Palencia. It is indeed a real place. I can attest to that.
You been there?
Yeah, I have been there. But a fair old hike from any kind of normal Spanish civilization, should I say. It's
really?
Lovely enough place. I mean, we were staying half an hour away in Valladolid. Quite a hike to get there.
Is that their national stadium or something?
No. For whatever reason, they've chosen to play their Super Cup games there this year. I think the national team in the past have played in the middle of Madrid at the university.
Yeah.
This year, I believe, with the finals of the REC, games will be split between the university and one of the big football grounds that's based in Madrid, not the Bernabeu, I know that, but one of the other ones. Yeah. So it's nowhere near where they would normally play or have tended to play in the past, but for whatever chosen reason, they decided to go there.
But I saw it. There weren't all that much I think in Madrid there were more spectators than here. Yeah.
No, there were. I think it's a multi-purpose stadium. There was a local rugby club, Palencia Rugby Club, that were based in there. Hosted us for a wonderful after-match after the game, I must say. Really, really entertained us and looked after both teams very, very well. Very hospitable. One of the best after matches that I've been to for sure.
Okay, cool. That's nice.
But then also, I think 5th division football is played there. 2 teams that share that ground.
Okay.
A pretty good facility. I must admit the pitch wasn't the best, but certainly for rugby to be played there, I think in the country, it's
could
a
be
step
worse.
Up, yeah.
So what I'm getting the feeling, right? So this is, and we had our fair share as Eemland with quite some guys, and the youngsters did very well. Tweede, I saw was really stand out.
Was outstanding.
He was really good, and I like the way he plays, but he's always very close to a fight. I
think that's his nature. I remember giving him his jersey that morning before we went to the game, and I said, listen, you're coming up against a fairly established international, wonderful player for Spain, and everything runs by him, but he'll try and get in your head. You make sure you don't take a backward step, my boy. You stick into him, and he did, and he rattled him pretty well, and I've never seen that guy have such an off game. Yeah. And to the point where he was subbed after about 55 minutes. So Tweede did his job outstanding to rattle his cage a bit.
And I'm getting right. So there were a couple of dimensions. This team was put together also with the idea. So indeed, as it is, it's the bridgeway towards the real national team, obviously. So we chose for the youngsters, but this is more or less starting to become the generation that indeed could be part of the selection in 2031 to qualify, right? Yeah.
No, and I think a lot of guys are going to be rewarded, or I know that a lot of guys have been rewarded in becoming a part of the 50-man squad, which we have to announce at the start of the campaign for the first 3 games. A lot of guys that have had or played well for Delta have been rewarded with selection in that. So don't be surprised if next week you see a few familiar names making their first bow or being rewarded for their form in Delta with national team appearances.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, and another, I just came to know that, but as you love the national union and everything that goes with it, and the teams and the under-20s you've been busy with, you're now also going to be engaged with the national team?
Yeah, I am. So I've been lucky enough. Been working with Brian, or had a number of conversations with Brian, our new head coach, and going to be brought on to help with the attack and with the back line as well. So a huge honour to be asked to be a part of that staff, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Sure, no, that's serious. Where does that leave Eemland? Because you're a pretty busy man now.
Yeah, so good thing we've got lots of we plan for these things well in advance. So obviously there's going to be a plan in place. It will mean that I'm probably at home a lot less over the next kind of 6 weeks. Bouncing between Amsterdam trainings and then here at the club and things like that. So look, it's I'm lucky enough to have a very supporting wife, and her family are helping us out at the moment. So it's it'll be fun. It'll be stressful. There'll be lots of plates spinning. But I think it'll be something that's very manageable and very beneficial for all parties involved.
Hey, and indeed, the new head coach for the national team is there. In the past, he did the national team and he did Delta. Is that now because he just onboarded, right? So is that something that maybe is going to happen for the future? Or
honestly, I've got no ideas. There'll be a review on the Delta season and the Delta campaign with all the stakeholders, and I'm sure we'll go through that process and see what's the best outcome and what's the best way of working together moving forward. If that's myself to continue, if that's one of the other club head coaches to take over, whether that's Brian that steps into that role, remains to be seen. But I think given the success of how things have been run, I think the clubs will be pushing to keep more or less the same. It's we've just got to see again what comes out of that meeting, what comes out of that review, and see how things progress from there.
Well, I did see also a fair share of starters that coming from Dioc or Hoek or Rotterdam. So it wasn't only those 5 clubs. Really, it was more spread. So there are possibilities to do so. So that's interesting. They're pretty cool to see. Absolutely, and it probably injection gives us a future. But again, this is I know that generation more or less pretty well, and that's a very talented generation that's now coming up and getting there, right? The 22, 21, 22, 23-year-olds.
Exactly. And I think if you have a look at, they've been a part of the 20s campaigns over the last 3-4 years. If I have a look at Mace Foots, Jack Slob, Jackson Hay, and then we look at the likes of Tibber and Bram that have been there in the most recent years. That's in that 20s program, we've made 4 finals in the last 4 years. So a lot of those guys are, show that they are potentially top internationals or future internationals anyway, to be able to push towards higher honours, and Delta's going to give them that.
Okay, cool. Hey, and now we got you, and we don't see you. You got a couple of weeks ahead of you, and we only start in 28th of February. So what is your view for the second half of the year?
No, look, I think we're going to have a few boys back from injury that are going to almost feel like new signings for us and give us a boost. The boys have been working away with their off-season training programs that they were given over the Christmas break, have come back and impressed with how well they've undertaken that. We've had a number of trainings over the last couple of weeks, slowly building up. We're looking at, or we will be going 3 days a week. This would have been the 3rd day, but I don't think you can see it out there, but the pictures are covered in snow.
It's quite snowy, it doesn't help.
Which doesn't help. So, look, we're building towards some things nicely. We've got a couple of pre-season head-outs planned as well before we have that game on the 28th against the Hoek van Holland side, who got the better of us down there. And a team that can trouble even the best on any given day. So
that was the one where I also had to commentate, and jeez, I indeed 80%. I think we were in there 22.
I still can't figure out how we lost that game
with
everything
crazy
that we had. But listen, when you play Hoek van Holland away, they grow an extra arm and a leg, and on that day they were very, very good and stopped basically anything in a yellow and black shirt that day. So fair play to them. But we're very, very much keen and very much building towards that. We've got Hoek van Holland and then HRC after that, which will be another big test.
Is that? I think we got them 2 weeks in a row, right? Because we postponed or not?
No, not 2 weeks in a row. We've got them the week after Hoek and one of the in-half weeks. I think that's one of the only games going ahead that weekend. And then a couple of weeks after that, we've got Rotterdam. So very much a baptism of fire to start the second half against some pretty top teams, and 2 of those that we're very much jockeying for top 4 positions.
And now, well, yeah, with all this the coaching and the stuff that you do, the setup this year, indeed, well, we had some unfortunate injuries already pretty early in the season, and we still have some for the rest of the season. Bam is not coming back this season, for instance. But well, with the idea of the beginning of the year and the setup with the training staff, which is extended, and what we've done so far, how happy are you? Where do you see that we stand?
No, look, I think very happy. I think we've the start of the year, the staff said we wanted to focus on some things that were easily measurable for the players to get feedback on how hard they worked, how quickly they were working into position, what their discipline was like. We knew that this is it's very much a marathon and not a sprint, and you've got to build towards something. I think we've seen probably in the back end of that first part of the season, from about the Hoy game onwards, that we were starting to build, and you were starting to see the signs of something positive building from the messages or the things that we decided to focus on behavioural wise on pitch. And I think, look, with the weather the way it was and how we kind of simplified some things, as far as our game plan went, we were still racking up 40, 50, 60 points going into the Christmas break against some teams. And I think if I look at it, the Hoy fixture stands out.
Yep.
In that first part of the season and how we got through that and everything that happened in and around that week. But then going down to Oysters and winning 40 points to 3 and keeping them basically to only a penalty kick that game, given the run that they were on before. Hoy scored in the last minute the week before, and then you have a look at a couple of games that they've played after, and that they've gone to HRC and scored 4 or 5 tries and led that game for the majority, and beaten Hoek van Holland and gotten a couple of other results that you think, I think that one maybe slipped under the radar with some people, but that was a very, very good performance, and the boys gained a lot of confidence out of that. So like I said, everything's trending in a very, very positive direction, but the test will come as we get into the second part of the season to see can we continue that momentum we built up pre-Christmas, and can we reintegrate the players that are coming back from some pretty serious injuries back into the squad to really kick on, so that we're hitting our straps come April, May.
Well, we still have another month, right, to go, so that's a good thing, and we probably need it very well because our fitness levels need to get up there, and we're working now for 3 times a week. I think only 2 other clubs do that too. So
and I'm not 100% sure on speaking to people around the traps. I don't know how many of the clubs are back yet, whether they've given them all of January off and are coming back maybe next week, or they've slowly started with maybe 1 training and to keep people engaged. Listen, we can only focus on ourselves, and that's the most important thing. We'll take everything a week as it goes, and we'll take the opponents as they come. But for the majority of it, we're going to focus on ourselves and really look to push and make sure that, like I said, we're hitting our straps at the right end of the season.
Makes sense. It's amazing. Sometimes you really make sense, Mitch. Thanks.
Not a problem, mate.
We'll keep in touch, obviously.
Definitely.